Today we have the opportunity to welcome here at the American Center Mr. William Siefken, who is a senior associate of the Center for Strategical and International Studies, and came to Prague to be a panelist at the conference called Transatlantic Relations 2009, a chance for a start. I'd like to ask you about this conference. Where do you see a chance for the first start between the US and the EU cooperating on energy security?
Well, first, obviously, there's been a significant change in Washington. So the years of the Bush administration had a very different approach to the issues of energy security and climate change than Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama has come into office making energy security and climate change a very key part of his program and a high priority in his administration. So we're looking forward to the changes which Mr. Obama will bring in American domestic policy on these issues, as well as opening up the chance for a new, better, more productive, more positive dialogue with our EU friends leading up to the conference in Copenhagen, which will hopefully bring about a new treaty. So it's a new beginning on the American side, and I think there have been a few events in Europe which have also brought home increased importance of this particular issue in Europe. For example, the Russian gas cutoff last spring, I think, sensitized people to the need to diversify their energy resources and to develop renewables or other sources of energy. So in this lead to Copenhagen, it's a good opportunity for us to build our good relations and build our cooperation and look for opportunities for better cooperation.
And having a new administration, the Obama's administration, what are the steps President Obama has already taken according to the climate change and the energy security, and what are the steps he should take in the future of his presidency?
The first thing which President Obama has done is simply bring this issue to the forefront of U.S. government policy. I mean, as he's made numerous speeches, there's been a lot of publicity, there have been studies, there's been a lot of access and emphasis placed on the issues of energy security and climate change. And Mr. Obama has made quite clear that as part of his overall stimulus program to get the American economy going again after the recession which we're having now, the economic problems we've had, that this area of industrial activity will have a high priority in creating jobs, creating new types of automobiles, that he will try to use the opportunity presented by the stimulus package to generate a whole new wave of activity in the United States with a clear focus on a more environmentally friendly industrial structure, new technologies, and new opportunities. So this is the first thing that he's done. Secondly, the President has actually proposed, and there's legislation now being developed in the United States Congress to bring into law the promises and the priorities that the President has enunciated. For example, in the new draft legislation, there's a cap-and-trade program in the United States. The President has announced new what we call CAFE standards, which is essentially saying that the cars have to get better mileage for gasoline. There will be more funding provided for technology for new renewables industries, startups, giving opportunities for more American businesses to create jobs in these new areas. And also for an increased emphasis on working with our European friends in developing better means of technology transfers and industrial cooperation. So even though we're only 4 months into a new administration that will last 4 years, President Obama has definitely taken a very strong lead in moving forward in dealing with these issues.
And talking about energy security, one of the organizations connecting the Americans and the European Union is significantly NATO. And where do you see the point of NATO, where NATO can take a part in the energy security, if NATO can?
NATO is the only organization existing that provides a forum for the United States and our European allies to discuss security issues. Now, energy security is an economic issue, and it's rightfully discussed to a large degree within the European Union and its structures. But the United States isn't part of the European Union. The place where the United States and Europe can sit down to talk about global security ramifications for our security and for your security in Europe, of what's going on in the world as it impacts our energy supplies This takes place in NATO, and it's a policy issue. When we get to talking about, actual rules and regulations within their other structures. But NATO gives us that opportunity for us to sit down and talk. Secondly, if you look at the projections of what could happen as a result of global warming, as a result of climate change, you see that there's very significant disruptions that could take place, whether it's flooding of Southeast Asian islands or devastation of agricultural regions due to drought, or flooding of seacoast cities, or in a worst case scenario, if the glaciers begin to melt, then rivers such as the Rhine in Europe, the Ganges in India, the Mekong, the Yellow River and Yangtze rivers, these are glacier-fed rivers. And if those rivers begin to diminish in their water flows as a result of global warming, then you're talking about the displacement of literally millions and millions of people. And again, this is a security issue, because as globalization has taught us, we're all connected. We're all part of the same small planet. And our security is intimately related to each other and is intimately tied to what's going on in the rest of the world. NATO provides the forum and the mechanism to deal with a lot of those issues.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Siefken.